What if the life you are living right now was never meant to help you win, but only to keep you busy enough to survive? From the moment you are born, a system quietly begins shaping your thoughts, your goals, and even your fears. You are taught what success should look like, what a safe life means, and how far you are allowed to dream. Most people believe they are free because they can choose what to watch, what to buy, or what to post online. But real freedom is not about choices on a screen. Real freedom is about control over your time, your mind, and your future. And that is exactly what the system avoids giving you. From childhood, you are sent into an education system that rewards obedience more than intelligence. You are taught to memorize, not to question. You are taught to follow instructions, not to challenge them. Nobody explains how money actually works, how power is distributed, or why some people stay rich generation after generation while others keep struggling despite working harder. The goal is not to make you stupid. The goal is to make you predictable. A predictable person is easy to manage, easy to control, and easy to replace. The system does not need everyone to fail. In fact, it needs just enough people to succeed so the illusion remains alive. It needs role models who followed the rules and made it, so others keep believing the same path will work for them too. But what the system truly fears is not failure. It fears independence. A person who understands how things really work no longer depends on permission, approval, or validation. And an independent mind cannot be easily controlled. That is why average is the safest place for the system. An average person earns just enough to pay bills, stays just tired enough to avoid deep thinking, and remains just distracted enough to never question the bigger picture. You are given entertainment instead of education, trends instead of truth, and motivation instead of real strategy. You scroll for hours, feel inspired for minutes, and then return to the same routine the next day. This cycle keeps repeating, not because you are weak, but because distraction has become the most powerful form of control. In the past, systems ruled people using fear and force. Today, control is smoother and quieter. Nobody changes you physically. Instead, your attention is captured, your emotions are manipulated, and your time is drained. You are made to argue about small things while bigger decisions are made without you. You are kept busy reacting, so you never get the chance to create. When a person is constantly entertained, they rarely stop to ask whether their life is actually moving forward or just passing by. The moment someone tries to break out of this pattern, the resistance begins. Society calls them unrealistic. Family tells them to be safe. Friends laugh at their ideas. Not because those people are evil, but because anything different threatens the comfort of what is familiar. A person who thinks differently forces others to question their own choices, and most people are not ready for that. So it is easier to mock the dreamer than to face the truth. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. The system will never save you. Waiting for the perfect degree, the perfect job, or the perfect opportunity keeps you trapped in delay. Motivation alone fades. Knowledge without action does nothing. Real change begins when awareness turns into discipline, when curiosity turns into skill, and when excuses turn into responsibility. The moment you stop waiting for permission to learn, to build, and to think for yourself, you start stepping outside the system's limits. You were not born average. You were trained to be average. You were trained to doubt yourself, to fear failure, and to accept less than what you are capable of. But training can be unlearned. Once you start questioning instead of accepting, learning instead of scrolling, and creating instead of consuming, the system loses its grip on you. It does not fear your failure. It fears your awakening. Because an awakened person no longer fits into the system, they redesign their own. Once you begin to see the system clearly, you also start noticing how it shapes your fears. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being left behind. None of these fears are natural. They are learned. You are taught to fear instability more than unhappiness, to fear criticism more than regret, and to fear uncertainty more than staying stuck. This fear keeps you choosing safety over growth again and again. And when millions of people make the same safe choice, the system stays strong without ever forcing anyone. Another hidden layer of control is time. Most people are not poor in money. They are poor in time. When your entire day is consumed by work, commuting, responsibilities, and mental exhaustion, you have no energy left to build something of your own. Dreams require silence, focus, and patience. All three are stolen slowly. By the time you sit alone with your thoughts, you are already too tired to think deeply. This is why the system doesn't rush you. It lets time do the work. The system also teaches you to measure your worth through external validation. Likes, views, followers, salaries, titles, all become proof that you matter. Slowly, your identity becomes dependent on numbers decided by others. When validation controls you, freedom disappears. You stop asking, "What do I truly want?" and start asking, "What will people accept?" This shift is subtle, but powerful. A person who lives for approval will never live authentically. And then there's comparison, one of the strongest weapons ever created. Social media shows you highlight reels, not real lives. You compare your behind the scenes to someone else's best moments and feel behind, even when you are not. This keeps you insecure, rushing, and desperate. A desperate mind is easy to influence. When you are busy chasing someone else's life, you never build your own. But awareness changes something fundamental inside you. When you realize that most rules are social agreements, not universal truths, your thinking begins to expand. You understand that many limits exist only because people accept them without questioning. The moment you ask why instead of how, you step outside automatic living. And once that happens, going back becomes difficult, because ignorance is comfortable, but awareness is irreversible. Breaking free does not happen overnight. It is not a dramatic moment, but a series of quiet decisions. Choosing learning over entertainment. Choosing patience over instant reward. Choosing discipline over motivation. While others scroll, you study. While others complain, you build. While others wait, you experiment. Slowly, your life begins to separate from the average path. Not loudly, but permanently. The system will not attack you when you start changing. Instead, it will test you with comfort. It will offer you distractions again. It will tempt you to settle, because bringing you back into the cycle is easier than stopping you by force. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Small daily actions, repeated without applause, are what truly break the pattern. Eventually, you realize that freedom is not about escaping society, but about mastering yourself within it. You may still work, still participate, still exist inside the system, but it no longer owns your mind. You use it instead of being used by it. You stop reacting and start designing. You stop surviving and start creating. And this is the final truth very few people reach. The system is powerful, but not unbeatable. Its strength depends on unconscious participation. The moment enough people wake up, question deeply, and act deliberately, the system loses control, not through rebellion, but through irrelevance. You don't fight it. You outgrow it. And when all the noise fades, when the distractions lose their grip, one truth remains clear. The world will not pause for you. The system will keep moving, doing what it was designed to do. It will continue shaping lives, quietly and efficiently, without asking for your permission. The only real choice you ever had was not inside the system, but inside yourself. You were never meant to live on autopilot. You were never meant to trade your entire life for comfort, approval, or routine. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to shrink your dreams, to silence your instincts, and to accept limits that were never truly yours. But the moment you became aware of this, the moment you questioned instead of obeyed, something inside you already changed. Awakening is not loud. It does not announce itself. It begins silently, in the way you think, in the way you spend your time, and in the choices you make when no one is watching. And once it begins, there is no turning back, because a mind that has seen the truth can never fully return to sleep. So the question is no longer whether the system is real. The question is whether you will continue living by its rules, or start writing your own. Because the system does not fear your struggle. It does not fear your failure. It fears the moment you stop asking for permission and start taking responsibility for your own life. This is your moment. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Stay comfortable and remain invisible, or wake up and become undeniable. The choice has always been yours.